going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day and sometimes college basketball videos, especially when March Madness starts rolling around. We're well past 5,000 subscribers, but we have a big goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I know we're going to get there, but we can't get there without you. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page. We have a much wider selection over there. And don't forget about my PayPal contest. The person with the highest donation at the end of this month wins a brand new 42-inch Roku Smart TV worth $300. And today I wanted to talk about the label of Group of Five being removed. Now, when I first read this and thought about it, I was like, that doesn't even make sense. There is definitely a gap between the Power 5 conferences and the Group of Five conferences. But then once I saw the arguments, I'm like, they might have a point there. They just might have a point. And the person leading this parade is the AAC Commissioner, Mike Aresco, and he wants playoff expansion now, along with the Group of Five label done away with. So the AAC Commissioner and the ACC Commissioner are at odds right now because the ACC Commissioner is leading the charge against playoff expansion right now. Well, not really against playoff expansion, but they just want to see the details on what it would affect. Like the amount of games during the regular season. How would it affect the other sports? How would it affect academics? You know, just the little details. This really doesn't have anything to do with football. And of course, the AAC on the other side of the fence, they want it now because they feel like time is slipping away, especially since they lost Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF. The AAC is going to be much weaker than what they were this year, this very year. For the first time ever, a Group of Five team, Cincinnati, made the playoffs. Yes, they got blown out, but so did Michigan, and so does everybody else in at least one game in every stinking year of the playoffs. It happens. So don't judge Cincinnati based on that game. They earned their spot into the playoffs. But now the problem is Cincinnati's not going to be there anymore. Neither will Houston, neither will UCF. Those were definitely the three biggest teams for the best chance for the AAC and any Group of Five conference to make it to the playoffs. So now they're all really sweating. Not just the AAC, but all of them are really sweating about this. The AAC Commissioner, Mike Aresco, he's legitimately mad at the ACC and the Alliance for halting playoff expansion, or at least slowing it down. He wants it now, they want it later. Now, what he's really afraid of is he's afraid that the Power 5 will break off and leave the rest behind. That's actually a legitimate fear right there, because that could actually happen. So I can agree with him on that. Now, right now, the Power 5 commissioners and the Group of Five commissioners, they all have an equal vote. Their votes are the same when it comes to value right now. But that could change. And I'm talking about the CFP, or College Football Playoff Management Committee. All the Power 5 commissioners, all the Group of Five commissioners, and of course the Notre Dame athletic director is part of this. But right now, all their votes are equal. But that could change in the future as well, even if the Power 5 doesn't break off. The votes for the Group of Five conferences could be devalued in the future. Or it could be worse. They might not even have a vote in the future. So I actually get what he's saying. So the problem is, how would you differentiate from the big money makers, the Power 5, from the lower money makers, the Group of Five, without risking the Group of Five leaving? In other words, don't get rid of the label Group of Five or the Power 5, but at the same time, ensure that the Power 5 doesn't leave the Group of Five behind. And that's the biggest enigma that we have to figure out. Because I agree on both sides, but I really sympathize with the Group of Five. I mean, at one point, I thought there was zero chance that they were getting to the playoffs as is. Of course, Cincinnati made it. I mean, it took them 2 years to build a resume to get into the playoffs. They had to do great in 2020 and then go undefeated in 2021. They finally made it. Of course, they needed help from some other teams to do bad as well, and they did. They got help from Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Baylor, Auburn, Tennessee. Honestly, I don't know why I said Tennessee, but you get the point. All the other teams that are in the Power 5 that were ahead of Cincinnati, they needed them to lose, and they get vaulted ahead of them. And that's exactly what happened. Well, if the playoff expansion doesn't happen sooner rather than later, then the Group of Five opportunity to get to the playoffs may have just happened, and that's it. No more. Because if playoff expansion doesn't happen, I guarantee you a Group of Five team is not going to make it to the playoffs ever again. I know that's a bold statement. I get that. Well, go to Blue Dude. Cincinnati proved you wrong. Yeah, but Cincinnati's now in the Big 12, and I just don't see any other team getting up to that status. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. I just don't see it. And it took a miracle for Cincinnati to get in. I mean, how long has the playoffs been around? Since 2014. UCF went undefeated several years ago. They didn't have any shot whatsoever of getting to the playoffs. Cincinnati had to build and build and build. They finally got in. I'm just telling you, the odds are stacked against the group of 5 as far as getting to the playoffs as is. So the AAC has more than one investment as far as expanding the playoffs. Number one, their chances of getting into the playoffs, next to nothing right now. Number two, the chances of the Power 5 splitting off and having nothing to do with the group of 5 anymore. They have to create their own subdivision, which, to be honest with you, I don't think that's too bad of an idea. I think that would actually increase the value of their football. But that's where the money thing comes in. I think they're afraid that they wouldn't make as much money as they do now. But they actually could make more money. I'll do a separate video on that. I think the group of 5 should actually split off from the Power 5 and create their own playoffs and national championship. The FCS has theirs, the Power 5 would have theirs, and the group of 5 would have theirs as well. And no, it wouldn't affect scheduling, because the group of 5 and the Power 5, they still schedule FCS teams. So they would still get to play the Power 5 and get their shot to knock them off and all that stuff. But I think they would have more to play for. Like, they know they have a legitimate shot of getting to the playoffs. All you have to do is be the best teams in the group of 5 and you're in the playoffs. Not you have to be the best team in the group of 5, build over several years, and then hope teams in the Power 5 stumble as well. No, the equation shrinks. All you have to do is be good. You're in the playoffs. So that fear right there, I'm actually a little hesitant on, because that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I understand where he's coming from. And then, of course, the last thing, afraid of their vote value either diminishing or completely going away. I think that's a valid fear as well. So how does the group of 5 combat that? I don't think they can. I honestly think there's nothing they can do to combat that. Mike Oresco is doing everything he can. He's voicing his opinion. He's giving his vote. That's all he can do. And now whatever happens, happens. The future of college football is in the hands of the Power 5. And if you're not in a Power 5, the future is not so great for you right now, or not looking so great for you right now. Personally, I don't think that they should get rid of the Group of 5 label or the Power 5 label unless they separate. Then they can get rid of the labels and just call this a separate division, whatever the name may be, or they could keep the names, whatever, you know what I mean. But if they all stay together and the Group of 5 teams have a shot to get to the playoffs, and the best chance of that happening is playoff expansion, which is why the AAC commissioner wants it right now. Same with the Mountain West and probably the other group of 5 commissioners. The sooner the better, the more chances they have to get to the playoffs. So if the group of 5 and the Power 5 stay together, the playoffs are expanded, and the group of 5 have a chance to get to the playoffs, then the group of 5 need to keep their label, and the Power 5 need to keep their label. Only if they split away should the labels be done away with. That's just my opinion. So I want to hear from you in the comments section. Number 1, do you think the labels need to be done away with? Group of 5, Power 5. Number 2, do you think playoff expansion should happen sooner or later or never? Number 3, do you think the group of 5 votes should continue to have the value that they have now, or should they diminish or go away altogether? And number 4, should the group of 5 and the Power 5 actually be separate? So y'all let me know in the comments section. I can't wait to see your comments. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.